everyone, Psycho Dude Horror here, and today we have chapter 3 of The Day I Hired a Hitman on Myself. I hope you guys enjoy, and down in the comments, can y'all send y'all prayers for my dad? He's in the hospital with a stroke, so just send y'all prayers in the comments. And without further ado, let's get this started. Stay scary. How's it going, everybody? So first off, sorry yesterday's part wasn't too exciting, as I had to get through the boring parts to get to the kick-ass Michael Bay explosions part. Oh, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to update tomorrow. If I do, it'll be later at night. Why, you might ask? If Mike's last day on Earth, the day he gets a bullet between his eyes or his chest. Anyway, enough of the semantics. Let's get started. I had gotten back around the area of my apartment and had seen Mike parked down the street by my apartment. At this point, I was done asking and I was done just watching him trying to watch me all day. So I decided I needed to test his abilities out. I went a few miles away to the old Motel 6. I walked in and a nice older man was running the front desk. I walked up to him and asked him if I could book a room. He said yes, that would be fine, and I paid with my debit card. I also handed him an envelope and told him if he saw a man wearing a suit about my height, ask for anybody to hand this envelope to him. He stuttered a bit, trying to get out that he doesn't do that type of stuff, but his attitude quickly changed when I pulled out a $100 bill and handed it to him. "Oh, of course, sir. If he comes in, I'll give it to him." I then went about 5 miles away to another Motel 6 and paid for a room with my debit card again, and handed this lady another envelope and pulled out an 100 and described Mike to her. "If he comes in here, I'll hand him the envelope, and he'll leave." She handed me my room key and I left. Then I went across the street a bit to a nicer motel and booked a room with cash. The room was on the second story and had a clear view of the Motel 6 across the street. You might be wondering what was in the envelopes and why I booked 3 rooms. Well, first off, I needed to see if they were monitoring my bank accounts. And secondly, I wanted to see if his reaction would be if when he finally realized I led him to 2 dead ends. The envelopes were just 2 pieces of paper. The first one said "try again," and the second one said "so close yet so far away. Now to just wait." I got up to my room and took a shower because I desperately needed it. I then set up one of the hidden cameras that I had bought from the spy shop outside my room, facing the entrance to the front desk of the motel across the street. I went back inside and waited. About 2 hours later, wouldn't you know it, the black car pulled up in the parking lot. As I sat there, I looked at the GPS tracker I had a few days prior and was there, and I had bought a few days prior and knew I had an opportunity to put it on his car so I could track him. The only problem was if I ever attempted to get close to his car, he'd know I was there and might even start shooting at me. I pushed the curtain of the window to the side and looked around. I saw a couple of teenagers on bikes freaking around in the parking lot of the motel I was in. I put on a baseball cap and went downstairs, trying to face away from Mike's car the whole time. I walked up to the soda machine that was downstairs and yelled at the kids to come over here while I was waving a $100 bill in the air. After all, I'm sure those kids would love some cash to frick around with or buy some pot. After looking at each other, they came over to me and asked what I wanted. I pulled the GPS locator out of my pocket and told them if they wanted to make a quick buck, all they had to do was wait for the man in the black car across the street to get out and walk into the lobby of the motel and hide it underneath the bumper somewhere where he would have a hard time finding it. "How are we supposed to do that without him figuring out what we're doing?" one of them asked. I thought about it really quickly and said, "Just ride your bike behind the car and one of you pretend to fall, and then as you're on the ground, stick it underneath." They all looked at each other again and snickered and agreed. I turned it on and handed it to one of them, and then handed the $100 bill in the other one. As he grabbed it, I held onto it and he looked at me with a questioning face as why I wasn't letting go. They all looked at me, and I looked each of them dead in the eye, and I said, "If you kids run off with my GPS locator and my $100, I will find you, and I will kill you and your families." I'm not the type of guy you want to frick around with, got it? Their smiles quickly faded, and they all nodded. "I'll be watching from somewhere to make sure that the job is done. You boys have a nice day." They slowly turned back around and rode across the street, not knowing what I had just said was just a bluff. I took the back stairwell back to my room. As I got in to check the motel, the kids entered the camera's frame, and just as they got near the back of the car, one of the kids fell, and I saw him reach his arm underneath the car. He then got up and rode off. About a minute later, I saw Mike leaving the motel lobby. He opened the envelope, read the paper, and then crumbled it up and threw it on the ground. He then got out his phone and called someone while he was walking to his car. He got in and left after putting his phone back in his pocket. I had another huge grin on my face, knowing that I was slowly winning the game. I got into my laptop and watched the little red dot slowly getting further and further away. After about an hour, I decided to go and check up on what Mike was up to, hoping to find the locator of where he was staying. I drove to the area where the GPS locator was stopped at. I parked about a half mile away and started walking to his location. It was a little parking lot for a Mexican food restaurant, but as I scanned the parking lot, his car wasn't there. I walked up to the front of the restaurant, and I could see that the entrance there was a little manila envelope. I walked up to it and opened it. All that was inside was my GPS locator and a note that said, "Tag, now you're it." My smile and thoughts were cut short as a little hole exploded out of the pillar I was standing by. As I ducked behind the pillar, another hole was created in the brick wall that was now in front of me. Frick, he's shooting at me. Where's the sound of the gun, though? I quickly thought, he must have a silencer. Crap. I completely fell for his trap. I'm such a freaking idiot. What the frick do I do now? I pulled out my 9mm and peeked my head out from the pillar. I couldn't see him. Frick. I had no choice but to run. He was closing in on me. I ran into the restaurant, went through the kitchen as a bunch of Mexicans were yelling at me. I darted out the back door. I ran to the alley that the back door led to, my adrenaline pumping. As I neared the end of the alley, I heard something whiz by me, tearing the side of my shirt. Almost out of the alley, I ducked behind a metal dumpster. I chambered around, popped out of it, and shot at him twice. A loud ass bang sound shot of the bullets exited the end of the barrel. Frick, everyone's around's gonna hear that. And this guy has a goddamn silencer, so I'm cornered. I heard another bullet strike the brick wall. I looked back and saw a huge chunk taken out of the corner. I ran as fast as I could, looking around. I looked around while he looked around trying to find me. For a guy of his size in a suit, he was sure pretty damn fast. I then hit a red light a few cars around me, and I could still see him running in my direction trying to look for me. I could tell he still didn't know what kind of car I was in. By the way, he was behind us in another car in the left lane. Come on, frick on, light, turn frickin' green. I was freaking hysterical at this point. The man that wanted to kill me was about 15 feet away, and all he had to do was look hard enough through the tinted windows that he would see me. He then continued walking, pulled out his phone. Right as he hit the street corner, the light turned green. I freaking gunned it. As soon as I knew that he was away from me, I started laughing louder than I've ever laughed before. I was so close to death, and yet I never felt so alive. This is exactly what I needed, and I actually couldn't wait for our next encounter. Only next time, it would be on my terms. About 15 minutes had passed as I lay in my bed contemplating everything. and I got a phone call. I looked at my phone, and it was a number that I didn't recognize from a 480 area code. I answered, "Well, hello there. You left so soon. We didn't even get to play. Who is this?" I asked like a like a dumbass. I knew who it was. "Don't worry who I am. It's yourself that you need to worry about." I started laughing. "Oh, Mike, my buddy, it's you. I don't..." "How do you know my name?" he snapped. "You shouldn't interrupt people while they're talking, Mike. It's quite rude. As I was saying, I don't think I need to worry about myself too much. I'm it now, though, so I'll be seeing you soon," I said. A few seconds of silence followed, and it sounded like he was in a car. "You'll be seeing me sooner than you think." And then he hung up. I knew what he meant by that, but I needed to get the frick out of this hotel and into a new one. I wrote down the number he called me on and packed all my stuff up and got out as quickly as I possibly could. As I was leaving, all I could think of was how the frick he got my number. I threw the phone out of the window and it kept driving. As I was driving away, I saw his car pull up in the motel parking lot I was just at. Anyways, once again, I need to get going. This bar I'm at is called the Blind Tiger. Is packed. But I've been here too long and I need to get back to my hotel. I also need to start prepping for tomorrow. Thanks for reading, guys. Until next time. So guys, that was chapter 3 of The Day I Hired a Hitman on Myself. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to today's story, or well, today's chapter if you want to get technical. Again, as I said in the intro, send your prayers to my dad as he is in the hospital with a stroke. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's chapter, and I will see you guys in the next story. Stay scary.